A man's life is what his thoughts make of it, and most never stop to consider what they're truly thinking, how your dominant thoughts quietly build the world you experience. Have you ever paused, truly paused, to consider the quiet voice that speaks inside your mind all day long? It is there when you rise in the morning. It walks beside you in moments of doubt. It whispers opinions, casts judgments, tells stories, most of which you did not consciously choose. Yet day by day, this voice becomes the author of your destiny. You see, thought is not passive. It is not air that drifts without consequence. Thought is the seed, and life is the harvest. Every man and woman lives in a house of their own making, but the house is not built of stone or wood. It is shaped from beliefs, expectations, and repeated ideas. We are not the victims of circumstances. We are the product of a pattern, and that pattern is thought. A ship without a captain will drift to wreckage. A mind without direction will do the same. So let me ask you, have you taken the wheel of your thoughts, or are you simply reacting to the winds around you? Think about the last week. Not what happened to you, but what you spent your time thinking about. Worry, doubt, envy, fear. These are not harmless guests. They are architects. They shape your speech. They shape your energy. They shape your life. A man who believes the world is cruel will find cruelty in every corner. A woman who believes she is unworthy will unknowingly walk past every open door. Not because opportunity does not exist, but because their minds were not prepared to see it. There's a quiet truth here that most people miss. We do not see life as it is. We see life as we are. So I ask you, what thoughts are you rehearsing in silence? What beliefs are you watering like a gardener tends a rose? Because whether you realize it or not, those thoughts are taking root, and soon they will bloom in the garden of your reality. A person can work 10 hours a day, chase success with all their might, and still fail if the soil of their mind is poisoned by self-doubt and limitation. But change the inner narrative, and everything begins to shift. The first truth I'd share with you is this. If you wish to change your life, do not start with the world. Start with your thoughts. Not once, not sometimes, but with discipline and intention, like a builder inspecting each brick before it is laid. Let others drift. Let others blame. But if you take hold of this truth and begin to guard the gate of your mind, you will find that life begins to respond, not to your efforts alone, but to your expectations. Because your thoughts are not echoes. They are blueprints. They are shaping your days, quietly, steadily, unfailingly. Why the outer conditions of your life mirror your inner beliefs. There's a law older than any constitution, deeper than any philosophy, and more unchanging than the seasons. The outer world will always match the inner world. It is known by many names, but I call it the law of mental equivalence. The simplest way to understand it is this: whatever you hold to be true in your mind, life will do its quiet best to confirm. This is not mysticism. It is not wishful thinking. It is the natural correspondence between belief and behavior, between expectation and experience. Every person carries with them an invisible template, a mental blueprint, and the world responds accordingly. A man who believes he is capable will step boldly into opportunity. Another man standing beside him who believes he is not will hesitate. He will doubt. An opportunity, like a wave, will pass him by. What made the difference? Not talent, not luck, but the picture each man held in his mind. Have you ever known someone who seemed to attract trouble no matter where they went, or another who, without great effort, always seemed to land on their feet? It is tempting to call it fortune or fate. But if you look closely, you will find the answer lies deeper, in the beliefs they carry quietly, even unconsciously through each day. A mind filled with fear cannot produce a life of courage. A heart filled with resentment cannot create peace. You cannot plant thorn bushes and expect to harvest grapes. It is against the laws of nature, and it is against the laws of mind. So ask yourself, what are the recurring images in your imagination? What phrases echo most in your thoughts? Because the life you are living today is a reflection of the thoughts you have nurtured, accepted, and repeated. There are no accidents here, only causes we often fail to notice. This law does not punish and it does not reward. It simply reflects, like a mirror held up to the soul. Change your beliefs and you change your actions. Change your actions and the world must respond. If a man believes he is destined to succeed, he will approach failure as a lesson, not a verdict. If a woman believes she is worthy of love, she will not chase it, she will attract it. Because the world can only echo back what we believe is possible. There's a story I once heard of two farmers in a time of drought. Both prayed for rain, but only one went out and prepared his field. Which one do you think truly believed? Life is always asking you that same question. Do your actions match your thoughts? Do your habits match your hopes? Because belief is not what you say aloud. Belief is what your life reflects. And so I say to you, if there is something missing in your life, begin not by seeking it out there, but by cultivating it in here. Because the world is not your master, it is your mirror. The danger of unconscious thinking and how drifting minds lead to drifting lives. Have you ever caught yourself lost in thought, replaying the past, imagining the worst, or wandering aimlessly through your day? Most people do this without question, without pause, and without realizing the quiet price they are paying. But here is a truth worth engraving on the walls of your mind. No thought is idle. You may not act on it, you may not speak it, but every thought leaves a mark. Every thought shapes the character of your inner world. And over time, the character of your inner world shapes the direction of your life. A man does not become fearful overnight. A woman does not fall into bitterness in a single moment. These are habits of thought, repeated, reinforced, and finally accepted. It begins small, a passing worry, a complaint, a judgment, a whisper of doubt. We entertain it, we allow it to stay, we give it shelter, and like a weed in the garden, it spreads, quietly, relentlessly, until it chokes the better thoughts that once lived there. Thoughts are like seeds, but not all seeds produce fruit worth harvesting. Some bear thorns, some bear poison, and yet many people scatter these seeds carelessly, through media, through gossip, through idle daydreams, and then wonder why life feels heavy, anxious, or lost. So let me ask you, if your life today were the sum of your thoughts over the past year, would you be pleased with what you've built? A drifting mind leads to a drifting life. This is not metaphor, this is a reality. A man who lets his thoughts wander without purpose will soon find his life doing the same. You must learn to guard your mind the way a sailor guards his compass, because even a small deviation left unchecked will lead you far off course. Now, I do not say this to alarm you, but to awaken you. You are not a victim of your thoughts, you are their master, if you choose to be. The mind, like a wild horse, must be trained. If left untamed, it will run toward fear, toward comparison, toward distraction. But with guidance, with care, it will carry you farther than you ever imagined. Begin with awareness. Start noticing what you think when you are alone. Pay attention to what you dwell on when the world is quiet. This is the true measure of a person, not what they say, but what they rehearse in silence. Idle thought is never idle. It is the soil from which your days will grow. Choose your thoughts as a sculptor chooses stone. Not every piece is worthy of shaping. Not every idea deserves to stay. And remember this, what the mind repeats, the heart begins to believe. The transforming power of sustained mental focus. There is a profound and unchanging truth that echoes through every great philosophy, every sacred text, and every enduring life of excellence. You become what you contemplate, not what you occasionally wish for, not what you casually consider, but what you give your sustained, heartfelt attention to. This, over time, is what you will become. A sculptor does not chisel a masterpiece in one strike. He returns to the stone again and again with focused effort and vision. So it is with the mind. What you dwell on daily, you are shaping slowly into the form of your future. Think for a moment about what occupies your thoughts most often. Is it worry? Then worry will become the tone of your life. Is it ambition, guided by service and truth? Then you will walk in the direction of meaning, because the mind cannot help but become what it feeds upon. This is why shallow distractions are so dangerous, not because they are wrong, but because they rob you of your power to focus. And without focus, no man can build anything lasting. The mind is not a storage place, it is a projector. It casts forward the pictures you hold within. Whether you are aware of it or not, those images will call forth the emotions, the actions, and ultimately the results that align with them. I once heard it said, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts, and it is true. A person who continuously envisions defeat, even while striving, will move with the weight of that expectation. Their posture changes, their voice hesitates, their choices grow small. Not because they lack talent, but because they have rehearsed failure in their mind until it felt familiar. But the same law works in your favor, if you choose to use it. Picture the man who, despite the odds, holds a clear image of victory in his heart. He speaks with a different tone. He walks with a different energy. He does not know when he will succeed, but he believes he will. And this belief fuels perseverance, invites opportunity, and shapes reality. The difference is not in circumstance. The difference is in contemplation. Let me be clear, this is not about daydreaming, it is about devotion. To contemplate is to return again and again to a vision worthy of your life. It is to carry within you a clear mental image of who you are becoming, strong, disciplined, kind, purposeful, and to let that image become more real than the distractions that clamor for your attention. You cannot hold two dominant images in your mind for long. One will eventually crowd out the other. So be ruthless with your focus. Guard it like treasure. If you wish to rise above the noise of the world, you must learn to sit quietly with the image of the life you are creating. Return to it every morning. Rehearse it in the evening. Let it become as familiar to you as your own name. Because in time, you will become it. Practical steps to cultivate thoughts that elevate, not enslave. We have spoken of thought as the architect of life, as the silent force shaping every experience, every reaction, every outcome. But knowing this truth is not enough, for truth alone does not change a man. Practice does. So let me speak to you now, not just as a mentor, but as a craftsman would speak to an apprentice about the work of training the mind. The first step is intention. You must decide, truly decide, that your thoughts matter, that each one is either building your life or breaking it down. This is no small realization. It is the moment when a man stops drifting and takes hold of the wheel. The second step is observation. Throughout your day, begin to notice the thoughts that pass through your mind. Do not judge them, simply observe. What tone do they carry? What do they repeat? What do they assume about the world, about yourself, about your future? You may be surprised to discover how often your thoughts predict disappointment, assume rejection, or dwell in comparison, not because you desire it, but because the habit was formed long ago and never questioned. But thought is not fate, it is practice, and practice can be changed. The third step is redirection. When you notice a thought that diminishes you, stop. Do not argue with it, do not wrestle, simply replace it with a higher thought, a thought rooted in truth, a thought that serves who you are becoming. Instead of "I always fail," replace it with "I am still learning and I will persist." Instead of "I'm not good enough," say "I am growing stronger with each step I take." It may feel unnatural at first, but so did walking once, so did reading. Every great change begins in discomfort and ends in transformation. The fourth step is nourishment. Feed your mind with voices that elevate you, books that challenge you, ideas that stretch you. Avoid the trivial, the noisy, the toxic, because just as the body weakens with poor food, the mind weakens with poor input. Build for yourself a small temple of thought, a place in your morning or evening where you reflect, write, or simply sit in stillness. Guard it, visit it daily. It is in these quiet moments that the mind becomes clear and the soul becomes steady. And finally, the fifth step is perseverance. This is not a once-and-done affair. The mind, like a field, must be tended every day. Weeds will return, old patterns will try to reappear, but do not be discouraged. The man who tends his field patiently will one day reap a harvest others call miraculous. If there is one thought I would leave with you today, it is this: the life you desire is already waiting within you. It will rise, not by chance, not by force, but by the quiet daily discipline of thought. Train the mind, transform the life, and walk forward, not as a servant of the world, but as its shaper.